Hey everybody, so this is your art teacher, Mr. Wright. Hello. I am going to teach you about using value and using paint to create space in your drawings. We're going to make a awesome painting of some trees and make it look like the trees are going back into the depth of a really dark forest. So, the first thing that we want to do when we're making our awesome painting is make sure we write our name on the back of our drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and write my name, and I want to see pencils moving, writing your name at the same time. I'm writing Mr. Wright. Scholars, let's see those pencils moving in 3, 2, 1. And we're going to turn the page over in 3, 2, 1. All right. Now we are all prepared and labeled. So the first thing that we are going to do is make a line across the bottom of our drawing, of our paper, sorry. And that's going to be the bottom edge of the forest. The next thing we're going to do is draw a couple of trees. And these trees we want to draw bigger than the rest of the trees. So go ahead and make these trees go all the way from the bottom to the top of your page. So go ahead and watch me do this. And if you want, you can draw at the same time. So starting out with the trunk of a tree, and I'm going to make some branches go off to the side and split. Something you can do to make your trees look really cool and interesting is make these branches go off and have them split. It's kind of what trees do. So I'm going to make another sort of smaller trunk, and notice how my trunk gets a little bit smaller as it goes up, and I'm going to make another branch, and I'm going to make it split off to the side here too. And you'll see later on we can add more branches, but for now we're just adding some basic branches. Maybe I'm going to add one more that comes off to the side like that, and if I want to add more branches at a later time I can do that, no problem. I'm also going to add little pieces of grass kind of sticking up, and that just adds a little bit more interest to this bottom line. Let me finish these. I'm going to add another split right there, and I'm just going to make this one split and then stop like that. Okay, now I'm going to make another tree over to the other side, and I'm going to start again with the trunk. And friends, if you need to do lines like this, that's okay too. They don't have to be just straight the way I do them. Okay, so now let's make another branch, and let's make it split, and you can just kind of end it in a point like that. And remember, you know what? It doesn't have to look like mine. I'm just giving you the basic idea of what to do. Your tree is going to look like your tree, and it doesn't need to look like my tree. Because as you can see, I'm just making it up as I go along. But I know that I'm making a tree. So, a couple more branches. And I'm going to make this tree split like that. Why not? Okay, now I'm going to add some more grass along the bottom. Grass along the bottom. And I'm good. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is draw another line about 2 inches above the last line that I drew. Just like that. And now I'm going to add some more trees. And they're going to be a little bit smaller, and you're going to want to draw them in back of the trees that you have already drawn. So watch this. I'm going to draw one right here, like this, and I'm going to make the trunk a little bit skinnier, a little smaller, and I'm going to make some branches come off, just like that. Pretty much the same way I did before. This time, notice I'm drawing the tree in back of the tree in front. I don't do a line in on top of or through the branch, because then it's not going to make sense. It's not going to look like it's behind. So I have to draw my tree so it looks like it's behind the tree in the front. All right, I'm adding some little branches here. Erase that line. And maybe some more branches here. And coming up like that. Okay, good. Now I'm going to add some grass and some more grass. If you want to do another tree over here, you can, and I think I do. So I'm going to go do another tree over here, add a branch to the side, another tree, another part of the trunk, and I'm going to do a big branch coming off there, some small branches, another branch to the side, and a branch like that, a trunk like that, and maybe another branch off to the side like that. Let's see here. I'm going to add one more tree, and I'm going to add it over to the side here again, on this side. And I'm going to start by doing my trunk. Remember, you can use a sketchy line or a really straight fluid line. And I'm going to add another branch over here and have it split. And another branch over here and have that branch split. Notice how I didn't draw through the tree branch in front. I skipped over it. I don't want to draw through it. That's important. Okay, so now adding some more trunk, and I'm going to add another limb or branch over here. And now I want to have this tree kind of split like this and go like that. And I'm going to put another branch over there. Great, my trees are looking good. It's making sense. I'm adding some grass. I'm going to add some more grass. Why not? And making sure that none of my trees in back are in front of my trees that are in front. Okay, let's see. Yes, okay, looking good. Okay, now we're going to do a final row of trees. So, first thing we need to do for that is to draw another line and make sure it's in back of the trees that we've already drawn. In order to make it look like it's in back, we skip over the trees that we've drawn. See, I'm skipping over and just doing it in back, not drawing through the trees. Now I'm going to do a smaller tree in the back, and I'm going to make it split really quickly. I'm going to add the trunk here and some limbs. And I made it split really quickly over there. And really quickly over there. And remember, this is pretty complicated right here. Your drawing doesn't have to look like mine. All I really want to see is that you have 3 rows of trees and that they're looking like they're in back of each other. So I'm going to do one more smaller tree back here. And I have branches that are splitting. And I'm going to make the whole tree split like that back here. Okay, and add some grass. Good. So this is what we want to accomplish for day 1. Just getting these 3 rows put in, the grass put in, and the limbs and trees put in. Now, for day 2, what we want to do is start painting. And what we're doing is we're painting in 3 shades of gray. And that is going to make our trees look like they're behind the trees that are in front. And the reason is because lighter colors and lighter values look like they're further away in space. So let's see what happens. I'm going to add some of my light gray first, and I'm starting with the trees in the back first. So I'm working back to front. My brush is a little bit dirty, but that's okay. Not too worried about that. I'm painting in the trees using the lightest gray, painting in those limbs. And I know that it might look a little complicated, but once you get the idea, it's going to make a lot of sense. You won't need to worry about it. painting is relaxing, something we can do kind of slowly, or you can do it fast. It's up to you. But right now I'm just painting. I'm putting little bits of grass. When I do this, or this, or this, it's like I'm putting little pieces of grass that are sticking up. All right. So, moving right along. So I'm also painting in the row of grass, you know? I'm not just painting the trees, I'm painting this whole row that same shade of light gray. I'm not sure what we could call this painting, but when we're done, maybe we can figure out a title. But I think it's going to be something like Spooky Forest, or maybe Shades of Gray. Like that movie we all love so much. Okay. Putting in the small trees behind. Okay, great. So that's all of my little trees. I'm going to fix this part right here because a little bit of the dark gray got into it. And now I'm going to finish doing the grass over here because I need to complete it. I need to take it all the way over to where I drew it to the end. So, almost done. Okay, good. Did that first part, and it's looking pretty good. It's a little streaky, but you know what? I think that's okay. I think it adds something pretty cool to the picture. And right now I'm washing off my brush in the water. You can see that I have this cup right here, and I'm washing my brush in the water. Okay, I also have a paper towel, and I'm kind of drying my brush in the paper towel. Okay, step 2 of painting. We are going to use the middle gray now, and we're going to use it to paint in the second row of trees, or the middle row of trees. I'm starting with the grass over on this side, and I'm really going to just work from this side to the other side, painting in all of this gray. And what I want you guys to get out of this project is to understand that we can create a sense of depth in our paintings and drawings by using value in a really specific way. Because we now know that darker values come forward while lighter values recede or go away in space. And it might seem a little bit technical, a little bit complicated, but when we're done, it's all going to really come together and make sense. It's kind of already starting to. Okay, let's move on to a second tree. But before we do that, actually, we want to paint in all the grass that's over here. All the grass. And I know it's not green grass, but just imagine you're seeing this at night. And the colors have all kind of disappeared into shadow. And you can do these long strokes like I was just doing, kind of long and graceful. It's easier to do with a paintbrush than to do with a pencil. One thing I also forgot to say at the beginning that I want you to remember is that when you're using your paintbrush, you only really need to paint with the tip of it. You don't need to press down too hard, if you can see, I'm gently scooting the tip of the paintbrush across the surface of the paper. I'm not pressing down hard. It's not like drawing. With drawing, if you add more pressure, you can make it darker. But that's not the case with painting. With painting, you make it darker by mixing the right color. Any amount of pressure is not going to change how dark the color is. And we want to make sure that we're just using the tip of our brush. And I know that you 7th graders can do that. You guys are old enough to know how to do things like that. Okay, getting close to the end of my second row of trees. I am just going to continue painting the grass like this, and painting the trees. Yep, and I can add limbs and tree branches if I want to, if I don't like how it's looking, or if I just, I feel like I need more branches in a certain place that looks kind of empty. I can do that too. I'm not going to do that quite yet. Okay, so I'm done with my middle gray, and I'm just kind of, you know what? I am going to add a few branches. I'm going to add a branch that comes across, and another branch that comes across here. Good, and maybe some more grass that comes up. Okay, now I'm going to take my brush, put it in the water, and try to get off as much of that gray paint as I can. And I'm pressing it against the side and kind of wiping off the paint, wiping it in the water, wiping off the side. Gonna put that down. I'm gonna take my paper towel and kind of wipe off all the water. Okay, now's the real magic part. Okay, this is when it all comes together. I'm gonna dip my paintbrush in the black, the pure black, and I'm going to do the grass again. I'm gonna start over here. And just do the same thing I did before, only I'm painting with a darker value, and the objects that I'm painting are bigger, and they're in front of the other trees, and they are lower in the picture plane, so they're darker, they're bigger, and they're lower in the picture plane. And those are the things that we were talking about before break, and those are the things that are going to make an object look closer. And once you get the idea, then you can do this with all kinds of paintings. And you can start using it with color too, which is something that I would like to get into later. All right, so this tree is going to look like it's in front of the other trees because I'm overlapping, it's darker, and it's bigger, and it's lower in the picture plane. See, I'm just adding a few branches. You can do that if you want. If you feel like it needs a little bit more in a certain area, you can do that. I'm also adding little bits of grass, right? And maybe the grass is going to be even bigger in the front, because we remember that things that are closer to us are bigger. That's kind of the easiest one to remember. So just adding more black, coming along the bottom. Not really using any water. I only use the water with this project to clean off my brush. I don't need to mix water in with the paint. So in that way, this tempera paint, which is what we're using, I should have said that earlier, this tempera paint is different than watercolor because you don't need to use water very often. You can just use the paint. So it's a different experience. I think it's really fun. Okay. Cool. Oh yeah. It really happens when it starts overlapping. Okay. Making the trunks and the branches like this. And continuing on with the trunks. Not being afraid of using the paint. And remember, I'm not pressing hard, just scooting across the top. Yes. Getting close to being done here. And almost done, and then I'm going to add a little bit more grass to the bottom. And then at this point, you can step back and look and see if there's anything else you'd want to change. If you want to wash off your brush and dip into a different gray, a lighter gray, to maybe add some more light gray trees in the back, you can do that. Once your your painting is quote unquote done, then you can actually go back and see what other little changes and adjustments you want to make. It's a really important part of the process. So I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to put in a few more light trees in the back, because I feel like I just need some more light branches. I might even add a whole nother tree back here. Got to be careful doing this, because you could mix with another color by mistake and start blending things together, which is something you don't want to do. I'm just going to add another tree branch there and there. Yeah, now that's looking good. That's what I want to see. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about this. So, friends, this is what it looks like. Let's see if we can do it. Okay, thanks a lot. See you next time.